In this video, I'm going to explain to you something that a lot of really bad people don't want you to even know about, never mind understand. And that is the hardware that hackers use to exploit you and your devices. I'm not talking about the Flipper Zero, this thing's pretty much a toy. What we're going to learn about today is this. This is called a Wi-Fi pineapple, and it is absolutely terrifying. And if you guys do like learning about niche hacking hardware, make sure to toss me a follow, because I will be turning this into a series sponsored by Delete Me, a service that helps you remove your personal information from data brokers on the web. These videos won't be anything about them directly, but you'll hear a little bit about them at the end. Let's talk about the Wi-Fi pineapple. So they come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and they basically just look like a really old Wi-Fi router. You use these in a whole bunch of different ways, but the most common one is using them to exploit a public Wi-Fi network using something called a man-in-the-middle attack. Here's exactly how that works. So the Wi-Fi pineapple is a mobile device that bad actors will deploy in the field, usually at coffee shops or other places with more public Wi-Fi. So let's say you are at a public coffee shop and you're connected directly to their Wi-Fi. It's secured with a password, so you feel like you're all good. Now, the hacker's first objective is to somehow get the Wi-Fi pineapple in between you and the coffee shop's network connection. There's two main ways they do this. The first is the most straightforward. Well, they'll literally have their Wi-Fi pineapple show up as a random open Wi-Fi network like coffee shop Wi-Fi open and just hope people connect to it. And a lot of people do. This is the number one reason why you shouldn't connect to totally open Wi-Fi networks, because they're almost always malicious. More commonly, they'll do something called an evil twin attack, where they'll jam the coffee shop's native Wi-Fi and then they'll open up a Wi-Fi network with the exact name and the exact same password as the coffee shop's native Wi-Fi. So your laptop or your phone or whatever already has that Wi-Fi credentials baked into its device. It thinks it's connecting to that trusted, secure Wi-Fi, but it's really connecting directly to the Wi-Fi pineapple. So even though your phone thinks it's totally secured and it's a network it already knew, it's not, because it's that malicious Wi-Fi pineapple device. Now, once the hacker has you connected to their device, they're almost always going to forward it over to the regular internet, so you as the user don't see anything fishy happening. You just feel like you're online. But they'll do two main things to steal your data. First thing they're going to do is just sit back and watch. They can see all the websites you're going to because they're handling all your requests to the internet through the Wi-Fi pineapple. Luckily, this isn't as scary as it sounds, because all websites that have HTTPS and are a secured website will not actually reveal what you're doing on that site as you're going through this. But if you don't go to an encrypted website and it's just HTTP, they'll literally be able to see word for word, page for page exactly what you're doing. But where things get really, really scary is when they start DNS spoofing. So DNS is kind of complicated, but basically whenever you try to connect to the internet, there's actually a step in the middle that translates what website to hand back to your computer. So your computer says, hey, send me Wikipedia. The DNS will then translate that request of sending you to Wikipedia to grab it from the internet and send it back to your computer. DNS is this translator layer in the middle, if that makes sense. Now, for a DNS spoofing attack, what a hacker is going to do is get their Wi-Fi pineapple connected to your network and have it look like you're just on the internet. But what they're going to do is have the Wi-Fi pineapple's DNS identify a few key websites, usually things like banking websites or email websites. And when the actual internet from the user makes the request to serve a web page, they're going to have their own DNS server set up that says, don't return the web page from the internet down here from the actual bank. Instead, return the hacker's custom built web page to the user. So even though the user goes to bankofamerica.com, they type that in, the website that the DNS server on the Wi-Fi pineapple says to serve up to the user isn't bankofamerica.com, because the hacker put a filter in to serve their malicious web page that will collect all of your banking details and pass them on back to the hacker. Basically, a DNS spoof lets you hijack any URL and show that user any web page they want from that URL if you're connected to their internet. These attacks are very, very difficult to detect and prevent. You can do things like use a VPN and obviously just have common sense when you're on Wi-Fi networks, but a lot of the times your data will slip through, which brings me to the sponsor of this video, Delete Me. Delete Me is a company I've been personally using for years, and now they're a sponsor of mine, which is so cool to me. They do one thing and they do it really well. They make sure your personal information isn't being shared around the web through data brokers who buy data through a bunch of different sources, including people who collect it maliciously, things like the Wi-Fi pineapple, and then sell it on to people like advertisers, political actors, and in some cases bad actors who are using it for fraud and scams. It kind of works in two steps. When you first sign up, it does a big sweep through a whole bunch of different data brokers and known data aggregators and requests that data is removed, which they have to legally. But the best part, in my opinion at least, is it's an ongoing service. So even if you do have data that leaks out, whether that's you do something, you get hacked, you accidentally enter it on a sketchy form, Delete Me does regular audits of all of these sites and make sure your data is removed before it gets into data brokers' hands and spreads across advertisers and bad actors. Now, not only am I a fan of Delete Me personally, like I said, I've been using them for years, but as a sponsor, they literally just let me make this video talking about whatever I want, educating you guys on the things I'm passionate about, and just let me tack on their sponsorship at the end here, even though it has nothing to do with them, and they've given me 20% off their services. If you guys want to sign up for yourself, which I highly recommend you do, if you use code BrettTech, you'll get 20% off. You can find the link in my bio there. Thank you Delete Me for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys for taking the time to learn about your data security and privacy. If you want any other niche hacking devices explained, let me know, because I'm going to turn this into a little series. Hope you liked it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.